Tell me, because somebody tell me what I know what it was.
I could pull it up.
Reality is coming. That's what people
that's great.
What about that comment? To me, what about her saying reality is coming? And the thing about the question, it pertained to just more than one player. It pertained to all of the newcomers, the Angel Reese's, Cardosa, Cameron Brink, all of them. That wasn't just directed at Caitlin Clark.
Absolutely. Let me just get this out the way, because obviously me and Ty specifically talk about the culture a lot, right? And the culture was losing a lot of battles. They were losing a lot of battles, but the culture won in the end against Caitlin Clark on Saturday. Was it Saturday or Sunday? It was Sunday. But the one thing I wanted to talk about real quick, it's not just mainly because Caitlin Clark is the face of it, and it feels like the WNBA is finally hitting this precipice, right? I don't understand why a lot of the WNBA players are looking at Caitlin Clark and trying to kill the golden goose that is Caitlin Clark for them. With the amount of shots they've been taking at her, whether it's was it Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi talking and all that, whether or not you think she can survive in the WNBA or not, but when y'all are taking this many shots at her, when she can legitimately bring more eyes to your sport, and it's already been shown when the Vegas Aces are leaving their stadium that they play at to go to a bigger stadium because they're anticipating Caitlin Clark bringing in more people. I don't understand why you are trying to potentially hurt your product. Obviously, we don't know how Caitlin Clark can be in the WNBA, but I just don't like the fact that you are just sniping at her like this all the time, because of what she could legitimately bring to your game, to your league, with the other people that are coming with her, whether it's Angel Reese or whoever else is going with her. But I don't understand why you're doing this to her at all, whether it's jealousy or whatever, because I'm sorry, okay? Whether it's timing or whatever, she brought the views this time. She brought the views, and it's been shown, right? And if she continues to play like she did in the tournament in the WNBA, she's going to make y'all a lot of money. So why y'all trying to kill this goose of yours? Obviously, J-Rob, you got some problems, but I'm just saying I don't like what they've been doing to her.
Because if this was a boy, y'all would not be saying half the shit.
I had a problem when they were doing this to Steph Curry too.
That's not true. We call this. This is called sports, y'all, and this was absolutely blowing mine about this whole conversation, because it's like the same redundant, constant, like what is Diana Taurasi and Asia Wilson and Breanna Stewart supposed to say? Caitlin, thank you so much for helping us raise our sport to this height, because we love you so much. And they're still athletes. They're both at the peak of their careers. That y'all are acting like this level of competition and this level of heat, it's not supposed to be in women's sports. Like, this to me is like, the women's sports should be ladylike, and we should always compliment each other and just women's power this. And if you say something against another woman, you hating on another woman.
Honestly,
Diana Taurasi is the all-time. She has the all-time record for threes in the WNBA. She's deserved everything that's come her way. If anybody knows Diana Taurasi, I've had the opportunity to be a practice player for the Phoenix Mercury, so I got to be live and direct with Diana Taurasi, or face-to-face on a daily basis. She's always been outspoken. Since 2020, she's been talking about rookies coming into the WNBA and it being a rude awakening. And it has been. If anybody, see, the thing is, people don't watch the WNBA, so they don't really know what goes on in that league. There's a lot of first-round picks in the WNBA who do not even pan out in the league. You'll get drafted in the first round and get cut in the same year. So nobody's discredited, and this is my other thing. Random or any other media outlet can't go out there and find me the clip where Diana Taurasi says, this girl is a detriment to our game. All they're telling them is that you're about to play with grown women. And I feel like somebody with her level of resume is allowed to speak on that. And we're all trying to like soft landing this girl, Caitlin Clark. Like, they wasn't out there parading Aaliyah Boston when she crying all over TV and her teammates when they losing. They don't even have the decency to put the pictures of the undefeated South Carolina basketball team on CNN when they go out and win. So we can't overprotect her because the new battlefield that she's about to go to, they itching to get at her. This is competition. This is what it's about. You think people not itching to see her?
No,
and Diana Taurasi is not jealous of her. I'm letting y'all know right now. She's not jealous of her.
Well,
she has her own resume to stand on. She's a first team All-American. She's a player of the year. She has national championships.
She's the LeBron
her resume. Yeah, I'm about to say, if you want to put her resume up against anybody's, it is just as good.
This
so we gotta stop acting like she's some sort of hater when there's nothing about her career or anything she's done in this sport, because she's just as much of a trailblazer. Do you know that she has a street named after her in Phoenix, Arizona, called Diana Taurasi Way?
That's great.
So let's talk. Like, what are we talking about?
Well, hold on, random, real quick, because I don't have a lot to say on this topic because I don't watch the WNBA. But you know, I saw Caitlyn. You know, love Caitlyn's game already. Caitlyn, you got a fan out of me. You feel me? But I will say this: the NBA had depending on what they said. To be fair to what J-Rob is saying, when Victor Wembanyama was coming to the NBA, people we've seen it. The podcast with Draymond Green and Paul George, they were talking about it. They were like, yo, Wemby's not going to be able to do that to us. We want to get right into his grill. He's not going to be able to do them dribble moves at 7-3. So they did that same thing to the generational prospect that went like Wemby. So I do think that we don't really need to protect Caitlyn, because
that's not what I'm trying to say at all. That's not what I'm trying to say at all.
I'm just giving an NBA analogy, but
I got you.
I'm gonna go after you, random.
Yeah. So the only reason I'm not saying they're trying to protect her or anything like that, J-Rob. Obviously, I did not watch the WNBA. Right? I maybe the most I've ever seen is a few highlights on SportsCenter. But Caitlin Clark has got me to watch women's basketball like I've never watched women's basketball before. Does she need to be protected? Absolutely not. Right. And I understand there's a competitiveness to it, because this girl, she's getting a lot of shine for what she's doing, but the numbers clearly spell it out. Right. Her with what she was able to do with the class. It's not obviously one thing I want to say. I'm not just saying it's all Caitlin Clark. It's Angel Reese. It's the South Carolina. It's all the people. Right. It's this class that's coming that could potentially add so much more, whatever revenue, odds, whatever, to the WNBA. And I'm looking at it, right? And I'm like, it feels like there's a lot more to it. Whether or not it's the head. And this is something I saw when Steph Curry was becoming Steph Curry, when I watched Oscar Robinson on ESPN say he would have been like a role player in the 60s or something like that. I'm like, you just hating. You just hating to the point. But I'm sitting here saying, it feels like there's a little bit, it's like, it's not, I don't even know how the right way to say it. And obviously,
what quote did she say about Caitlin Clark that has everybody up in arms? What's the quote? Tell me, because somebody tell me what I know what it was.
I could pull it up.
Reality is coming. That's what people
that's great.
What about that comment? To me, what about her saying reality is coming? And the thing about the question, it pertained to just more than one player. It pertained to all of the newcomers, the Angel Reeses, Cardosa, Cameron Brink, all of them. That wasn't just directed at Caitlin Clark.
Absolutely.
But because Caitlin is the figure, it seems like Diana is going against, is singling out to Caitlin Clark. But nobody can tell me the direct quote where Diana Taurasi disrespected her.
J-Rob, when I first prefaced this, I said it wasn't she's just a face, but it's the entire class. She could are people lying when she's saying Caitlin Clark and her class? No, let me just say this incoming class that's going into the WNBA could bring a magnitude
that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, though. You're acting like you're pretty much, you guys want me to get behind the idea that Diana Taurasi should be in the players in the WNBA should be so grateful, that should be overly grateful that Caitlin.
I'm not saying she should.
That's what you're telling me, because you keep using the argument for views. Your argument is viewership. So your argument is they're about to bring all of these eyes, and you want these older players to have more levels of gratitude. That's what it sounds like. And to be honest, you got to understand, Random, when it comes to the women's basketball, this is the first thing I did out of college. I went to Australia for 2 full seasons and covered women's basketball. So I've seen it up close and personal. The women in this sport and in this game, they care about what they've done in their careers because they've worked hard as well. They've inspired people as well. Absolutely. And so at the end of the day, I'm happy for everybody is happy for the advancement in the game. It is exactly what they deserve. However, they're not gonna sit here and act like they're not competitive either. You don't think Diana and the rest of the league want a piece of Caitlin Clark?
Of course they do.
They're not going to sit here and they're already selling tickets to Diana's game versus Caitlin.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say this
like,
is.
it's sold out.
I was gonna say this situation. Well, not this. Well, this kind of reminds me of Lonzo Ball when Lonzo Ball was getting drafted. He was getting hyped up severely by his father, and his father was saying all this shit. Steph Curry with a 40-inch vert, and that caught the attention of NBA veterans like a Pat Bev, like a John Wall. That puts a bulletin board, and it's like, all right, so you getting hyped up like this. So when you come over to the big leagues, we're gonna see how strong he really is. That's basically what Diana Taurasi's saying. Diana Taurasi's basically telling the media, like, yo, like over here, there ain't no little ass kids over here. You playing grown ass women, and we gonna put you to work. So that's what the situation reminds me of. It reminds
Maybe
me a lot of
J-Rob.
Lonzo
And you
Ball.
don't find it a little. You don't find it, and this is what also kills me is that you don't think everybody like they call Breonna Stewart a hater because she said Caitlin Clark cannot be the GOAT if she doesn't win a championship.
She shouldn't be.
Breonna Stewart has 4 tournament most valuable players.
She shouldn't
3
be
player of the years of 3-time first team All-American.
She's the greatest
not a
Final Four
hater.
player ever.
But people are saying she's the GOAT, and then you wonder why there's pushback by players in the league because they have resonance.
No. I think when in terms of the Caitlin Clark GOAT discussion, I'm right there with you when you would argue with people. I'm like, okay, maybe she's one of the more influential, but trying to say she's the greatest of all time
is more influential. Most polarizing for sure.
Because how can I call you the GOAT if you don't even have a championship to your name, first of all, and all that? So my only thing, it just seems like when I'm watching, whether or not J-Rob, I'm watching publications that I trust, whether or not it's somebody like Lowe or ESPN or Bill Simmons, all these people. It seems like there's this
legend of winning,
huh?
Legend of winning.
I'm just using him as an example
for WNBA.
No. This is what I'm saying. What obviously I'm just using them as an example. When I'm watching all these different publications that I've been watching, whether it's the women's game or figures in basketball, looking at this reaction to Caitlin Clark, and it feels weird when I'm watching Ryan Russillo, who's a basketball head above basketball head, saying, "Yo, this feels really weird." Maybe it's because it's finally
how much women's basketball has Ryan Russillo covered in his career?
I don't know.
So this is what I'm saying. Like this is my whole point. Like everybody seems to be so opinionated about the WNBA and talk about it and about the game as if they've been watching it for a decade. And that's my issue. Like, who's Ryan Russillo? Who's Ryan Russillo?
Is it not fair for me to ask questions like he was doing? It's like, yo,
but you're saying that because of these people saying it, they have like their opinion is more credentialed, but they're not credentialed in the sport. Like they don't know the women's game.
J-Rob,
this is their first experience with the women's game.
I would disagree. I think Ryan Russillo has been obviously. I have to go.
How much of the women's game has Ryan Russillo? I know who Ryan Russillo is too. I know who Ryan Russillo is.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
he
wouldn't. If you know who he is, he would not make these statements on his podcast without talking.
Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion,
and I got you. And I'm just saying, is it not fair to ask these questions?
Just because he has an opinion doesn't mean there's a feeling that this is a different instance because he has an opinion. Ryan Russillo's opinion on this is not.
All I'm saying because I'm a casual. I'm seeing what the
why aren't you watching? So why are you not watching Ari Ivory, who's in women's sports?
I didn't know who
talks
that
sports.tv.
I don't know who that is.
But you're trying to learn about a section of sports,
and I'm going
to
the
views of people
and I've been branching out. J-Rob, I've been branching out. I don't know who that is yet, but
Ryan
I'm watching.
Russillo's not branching out, bro. He's all right. Go ahead, Lonnie. My bad.
No, I was saying like this might be a hot take for casuals, but like she's not. It might take her 2-3 years to be the best player on her team because Aaliyah Boston is gonna be like a mini Tim Duncan. So it's like, so she's like everyone thinks like she's gonna take over the league. She's not even gonna be the best player on her team.
I think
so.
I'm not saying that either. I'm just asking questions because she's clearly going to bring something new to the game.
Caitlin Clark thing, because I don't mind being the bad guy. This is kind of like Baloo says. This is kind of like a Lonzo type situation. Don't get me wrong; she's a phenomenal player. She probably has like one of the top 3 in terms of impact on women's basketball, just based off of the social media era that we're in and stuff like that. So I give her props to that. But no, this is at the end of the day, this is sports. People want to win. People want to be competitive, and her getting all this attention, it's gonna make people that have been grinding, not getting recognized their whole career, feel some type of way. So she's gonna be public enemy number one, as she should be, because she's supposed to be she's being pushed as a new face of women's sports, of women's basketball. So yeah, Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, they should want to go at her ass. They should want to destroy her, because that's what sports is about.
Low key, it's not only Caitlin Clark; it's also Cameron Brink that got a bulletin board.
It's also Camilla Brink. So Cameron Brink is a great example.
Angel Reese,
yeah, Cameron Brink. She's probably gonna go. She's probably gonna go to L.A. She's beautiful as hell, so she's gonna get a ton of endorsements. But at the same time, she's mad skinny, and she plays like the forward/center position. But she's skinnier than me. She's like a slender man, so she's gonna get bullied. She's gonna have a rough. She's gonna have a rough first year because she has like no weight on her. She's like she's paper thin, and she's a center. Nah, so she's gonna have a rough time. Angel Reese dribbles like Helen Keller. She's gonna have a rough time. So it's like,
all I'm saying is too, Lonnie. Let's be honest, because I gotta put another comparison that makes sense. If LeBron James said reality is coming when it pertaining to maybe Victor Wembanyama, or when Paolo Banchero was coming out, you know what we'd be saying about LeBron James? This is that killer GOAT mentality, dog mentality that we talking about. That's what we would be saying.
The competitiveness of LeBron.
If Kobe Bryant said this when Dwight Howard was coming to the league, or if Michael Jordan said this when Shaq was getting drafted into the NBA, the narrative would be they're hungry, they're dogs. That's the equivalent of Diana Taurasi doing what she's doing, just so we have an understanding. Because if it coming from a man, we would not have this idea, or wouldn't be calling these players haters.
That's not where
I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm not saying you're saying that. But I'm giving you real. Yeah, I'm giving you real. A real comparison.
I'm definitely.
Sensei did ask a question. Can I ask that honest question? Why is it when someone is just trying to learn the game, and people that have been here from the beginning get kind of frustrated for asking questions casually?
Because I want to learn. I want to see if Caitlin can be successful at the next level. And I'm not one of those people saying she's the GOAT of women's college basketball, because she's not. I'm not saying she's going to walk into the WNBA and dominate, because she's probably not.
I'm not saying she's not going to be a good WNBA player. I'm more speaking to just the I'm really defending the other players that have been getting the backlash.
The only reason,
and Lewis also, I acted the way I acted because Random started with she seems like a hater, so I felt,
because that's obviously I was just using my opinion. No,
defend her.
Absolutely, maybe I should have used better wording, but this is the last thing I'm gonna say on it. The only reason I'm saying that, because if it feels like if this Caitlin whatever thing works out, like the WNBA could be very successful monetarily, so that in the future, because it's not going to work out immediately, so in the future, the next Diana Taurasi or Caitlin Clark or whoever doesn't have to go overseas. They can just stay in the US and make money here playing ball. You know,
well, they got an extra fan out of me. Whatever team Caitlin Clark is drafted to, I'm watching.
She's going to Indiana. She's not leaving. She's going to Indiana.
Since this is an anime podcast, I'm gonna make the next topic anime related.
My bad, J-Rob.